Om Vishwandarpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyan Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivod Yatha Nidraya Yasakshat Kurute Prabodha Samaye Swatmanamevadvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Narayanam Padmabhuvam Vasishtam Shaktin cha Tatputra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gauda Padam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Mathasya Shishyam Shri Shankaracharya Mathasya Padma Padancha Hasta Malakancha Shishyam Tantotakam Vartikakaramanta Asmadgurun Santatamanatosmi Shrutismritipurananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Parabrahmanishtam Swato Dharmanishtam Ahimsaikanishtam Swashishye Sujushtam Yatinam Varishtam Gurunam Garishtam Dayananda Rupam Madacharya Namah Shri Paramarthaya Sansaradhyasanashine Shrotriya Brahmanishtaya Tasmai Brahmavide Namaha Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Om. We will chant the Mangala Shloka of Tattva Bodha. Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Bhidhiyate. I welcome you all to the 39th class of the Fundamentals of Vedanta series. Tattva Bodha, the knowledge of reality, or Ātmā Jnanam, self-knowledge. That is the text that we are studying. And as we said, Tattva Bodha consists of 6 parts. The first part gives an introduction to the qualifications, sadhana chatushtaya sampattihi. The second part gives the entire teaching, the final vision, in the form of a single sentence, a sutra vakyam or a sangraha vakyam. And that gives us the essence of Vedanta. That's what we were seeing in the last class. Ātmā satyam tadanyat sarvam mithyeti. Then in the third part, it gets into an inquiry into the jivaha. Who is the jivaha? Jiva vicharaha. The fourth part is srishti vicharaha. What is this srishti? How does it come about? The fifth part is jivatma paramatma aikya vicharaha or mahavakya vicharaha. And the last part is the jnana phalam. What is the benefit of this jivatma paramatma aikya jnanam? So in the last class, we looked at the sutra vakyam, and then we moved on to the jiva vicharaha. So we will summarize what we have seen so far in those areas. The student asked Tattva Vivekah Kaha. What is this Tattva Vivekaha? What is the discriminative knowledge of this reality? And the Guru replied, Ātmā Satyam Tadanyat Sarvam Mithyeti. So we then got into a vichara into what is Satyam and Mithya. In the example of the gold bangle, we said that if we inquire into it, we come up with this surprising discovery that the bangle is not a substance at all. The substance is really the gold. Gold is the saraha of the bangle. The bangle itself is just a name for a form of gold. It is substanceless. Before the bangle was, the gold was there. Even when the bangle is, the gold is still very much there. And after this bangle is melted and molded into some other form, the gold still remains. Therefore, gold is also nityaha. So gold is saraha, gold is nityaha. And then gold is also the satyaha, because what exists is really the gold. The bangle is just a name for a form of the gold. The gold is the one that lends existence to the bangle. The bangle lives on borrowed existence. It cannot exist by itself. It doesn't have independent existence. Gold alone has independent existence, swatantra satta. Therefore, Vedanta says that gold is the satyam, whereas bangle is mithya. Bangle appears to exist. There's gold alone that really exists. Then we ask the question, well, what is the satyam in this world? Well, we see so many things around us that we say these are existing. But is there a similar notion here that something really exists and all else appears to exist? Vedanta says that is indeed the case here as well. Brahman is Satyam, Brahma Satyam. So Brahman is the all-pervading, attributeless, formless reality, and Brahman alone really exists. Before the world came into existence, Brahman was. Even when the world is, Brahman is. And after this world goes, Brahman still remains. Then what is the status of this world? We say that the world cannot be called Satyam, because anything we take into account in the world, anything we inquire into, it appears to exist, but then it disappears. Its existence disappears as we understand it comes from something else. And that thing is reduced to just nama and rupa. If we take a shirt, and the shirt is reduced to yarn, and we say yarn exists, the shirt is reduced to nama rupa. Then we say that yarn is also reduced to nama rupa because it's the fabric, it's the fibers that exist. And the fibers are also reduced to nama rupa because it's the cotton that exists. So anything that we take into the inquire into in the world, it keeps getting reduced to nama rupas, nama rupas, nama rupas, nama rupas. This chain keeps going. So finally, what is it that really exists? Vedanta says it's Brahman that exists. And everything else is nama rupa only. Therefore, the world cannot be called Sat. It is Mithya. The world is not Asat either. Because if it was Asat, like the horns of a hare, it would not be experienced at all. But the world is experienced. So it is neither Sat nor Asat. Sat, Asat, Vilakshanaha, Mithya. It is neither Sat nor Asat. So this Mithya category comes in between Sat and Asat. So Ātmā, now we ask, How do I know this Brahman? And that is where Tattva Bodha tells us. And Tattva Bodha is really echoing the teaching of the Upanishads. So through the Tattva Bodha, Upanishads are telling us, how do you know this Brahman? Ātmā satyam tadanyat sarvam mithyeti. So this Ātmā is this Satyam Brahma. Our tendency is to think that this Brahman will be somewhere outside that I have to know. But since Brahman is the all-pervading reality, it should pervade me too. Because I have also emerged, I also originated in much the same way that everything else in the world has originated. And if the source of everything is Brahman, the source of myself, me is also Brahman. So I don't have to really look for Brahman outside. Brahman is there in me. That's a starting point. To say that I don't have to look for Brahman outside, I have to look within me for this Brahman. Therefore, Ātmā satyam tadanyat sarvam mithyeti. This Ātmā is the Satyam. What is the Ātmā? Like we said, it is the real meaning of the word I. So every individual has got this imperishable inner essence that is called Ātmā. And the imperishable inner essence, as we said, it can never be seen as an object. Like I see the screen in front of me or the wall in front of me. I cannot see this Ātmā in front of me like this. Why? Because it is me. It is the very subject. I can objectify everything in this world. Everything in this world is subject to objectification. Through my senses, I can observe everything through my senses. But I myself alone cannot be observed through my senses. That's why we say that the Ātmā is not objectifiable. It is unobjectifiable. And then how do I know it? We say that Ātmā cannot be objectified, all right, but Ātmā need not be objectified in order to know its existence. Because I am the one who objectifies everything. I don't need to be objectified. I know that I am without objectification. Like we said, even in the darkest of rooms, I may have a doubt about whether something exists or not, or whether anything exists in the room or not. But I'll never have a doubt whether I exist. So this is the only thing I know doubtlessly, that I exist. And that is the knowledge of the existence of Ātmā without objectification. So we say that the Ātmā is self-evident. Just like a torchlight in a dark room illuminates everything else. But the torchlight doesn't need another torchlight to illumine that torchlight. The torchlight is self-luminous. In the same way, this Ātmā is self-evident, self-luminous. Therefore, it is the unobjectifiable, self-evident inner essence of every individual. And this Ātmā is Brahman, Ātmā Satyam, Tadanyat Sarvam Mithyate. Basically, it's saying you are that Ātmā which is Brahman, which is one with Brahman. And as we said, that this understanding that I am this Satyam Brahma itself is moksha. The real understanding of this is moksha. Because when I say that I am Satyam, it means that I am unaffected by everything else. The bangle getting dented can never affect the gold. The mirage water can never wet the sand. So anything in the lower order of reality can never affect something in the higher order of reality. The dream can never affect the wake. Therefore, being Satyam, my nature is Satyam, means that my nature is such that I am unaffected by anything else. The coming or going of anything cannot touch me fundamentally, cannot threaten my existence, cannot do anything to me. Satyam remains unchanged no matter what happens to Mithya. So I am unaffected by anything that happens in the world or even in this body-mind complex. So this knowledge is moksha. There is no other moksha to be gained. It's just this understanding that moksha is my nature. I am fundamentally unaffected by anything else because everything else happens to be mithya. So this is the Sutra Vakyam. But then, once the Sutra Vakyam tells me this, that you are the Ātmā, that is the Satyam Brahma, and everything else is Mithya, am I able to understand it? We say that somebody was an Uttama Adhikari, who has done a lot of this contemplation in prior Janmas perhaps, but who could not finish the task due to some reason. And for such an Adhikari, perhaps this teaching is enough to bring back all the learning from the prior janmas. And then one sees that I am free. But for most of us, this Sutra Vakyam is not enough. It needs further elaboration. Why? Because you have misunderstood the Ātmā. There has been a terrible mix-up of the I and the not I. I and the not I. The Ātmā and the Anātmā. They have been mixed up. And that is when we hear that you are the Satyam, everything else is Mithya, then the mind protests. How can I be the Satyam? What are you talking about? I am such a puny creature in the wide world. How can I be the Satyam? I am 5 feet 8 inches tall. I am thin, I am fat, whatever. I am fair, I am dark. This is my understanding of Ātmā. Ātmā is nothing but the real I. But then my understanding of I is that I am this body. And as this body, how can I be this Satya? Vedanta points out that you have misunderstood the Ātmā. When Vedanta is saying Ātmā, it is referring to this imperishable inner essence of this individual. Then I, having mistaken the Ātmā, am talking about this body as being the Ātmā. There is ajnanam about the real nature of Ātmā, what this Ātmā is and what its nature is. And therefore there is adhyasa, the subsequent superimposition, non-apprehension of reality invariably results in misapprehension of reality. Not seeing the rope as a rope, invariably one ends up mistaking it to be something else. and not seeing the Atma for what it really is, one invariably mistakes this I to be something else, just this body. And this confusion, as we said, is universal. And therefore, everybody around is talking the same thing. And when everybody reinforces my idea, then I feel that is what is right. So the elected government these days is determined by majority in a democracy. But truth is not something that can be determined by a majority. In fact, the majority is usually deluded with regards to the truth. Only a few, the minority really know what the truth is. So when everybody else is reinforcing the same thing, then my idea gets a lot of support. In fact, it is not just the common folk, but even philosophers get deluded. And that is why we have so many different systems which talk about the Ātmā in different ways. Purva Mimamsa, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Yoga, Sankhya, and various theological systems. So we have to come to the proper pramana to know what the reality is. This confusion is universal, not just amongst common people, but even amongst deep thinkers. This confusion is there. Like the Mandukya Upanishad, Mandukya Karika analyzes a lot of the places where the different philosophical systems go wrong. So there is this self-confusion, and therefore it is important to correct this confusion. Therefore, the next thing the student asks is, Ātmā kaha? What is the Ātmā? Okay, you're telling me that I am confused with regards to what the Ātmā is. So please guide me. Tell me what the Ātmā is. I am confused with regards to who I am. Tell me who I am. And that's when Tattva Bodha says, Stula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha Panchakoshatita San Avasthatraya Sakshi Sat Chid Anānda Svarūpa Sanyastishtati Sa Ātmā. So this is the teaching with regards to Ātmā that the Tattva Bodha gives. And as we said, when we look at the structure of this response with regards to what the Ātmā is, it's comprised of 4 parts, 3 negations and 1 definition. Why are the 3 negations there? As we said, confusion necessitates negation. Wherever there is a possibility of confusion, likely, then that is explicitly negated. And we took the example of a child whom we are trying to teach what gold is. So we don't have a lump of gold to show this child that this is what is gold. We have only ornaments. We have a bangle, a necklace, and a ring. Let's say I'm showing the child that these 3 ornaments are there: bangle, necklace, ring. So do you see the gold? We ask. I don't see the gold. I only see a bangle. I see a necklace. I see a ring. Where is the gold? So in this, what has happened? When one is captivated by the nama rupas, then one misses the satyam. When one is captivated by the mithya, one misses the satyam. Even though wherever mithya is, the satyam is right there. In fact, when one is looking at the mithya, one is really looking at the satyam only, because that is the substance. And one still asks, where is the gold? Therefore, this confusion is there because mithya has been mistaken to be the satyam. And therefore, the negation is required to say that the satyam is not the mithya nama rupa. Note that we are not saying that the bangle is not gold, necklace is not gold, the ring is not gold. We are not saying this because the bangle is gold, the necklace is gold, the ring is gold, because mithya cannot exist without satyam. The beggar is the actor in a certain costume of the beggar. But the actor is not the beggar. Because the actor can take off the costume and go and ride in a Mercedes outside. He is not a beggar. But he can put on the costume of the beggar and then he appears like a beggar. But once the actor has hung up his costume and called it a day, he has gone home. Where is the beggar? It's just this costume that is hanging. That's not the beggar. Without the actor, the beggar cannot be there. Similarly, without the gold, the necklace, the bangle, the ring, they cannot be there. So the negation is not the bangle is not gold. That is not what we are saying. We are saying the bangle is gold, but gold is not the bangle. This is Vedantic algebra, so to say. B is A, but A is not B. B cannot exist without A, but A can exist without B. So when one is committed to nama rupas, when one is captivated by the mithya, then one misses the satya. This is why viveka, vairagya, etc. are important qualifications. Now we can see this connection better, because in the absence of vairagya, one is captivated by the mithya namarupas. One is longing for the mithya namarupa. One wants to pursue the mithya namarupa. And when that is the mindset, one will continue to miss the satyam. Therefore, a certain distancing is required from the namarupa. That is what is vairagya. And therefore, the negation is required because confusion is there in that area. Confusion is there. Explicitly, it is negated. So there are three negations and one definition. And for the purposes of negation, the Anātmā, the not I, that is divided into three groups. Sharira Trayam, Kosha Panchakam, and Avastha Trayam. The three bodies, the five koshas, and the three avasthas. So the first one is the Sharira Trayam. It says Sthula Sukshma Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha. The Ātmā is different from the Sthula Sharira, from the Sukshma Sharira, and from the Karana Sharira. From these three bodies. And these three bodies are elaborated on more later. The Sthula Sharira basically refers to this gross body. Whatever 5 feet 6 inches, 5 feet 8 inches tall, whatever it is. So when I say I am 5 feet 8 inches tall, I am tall, I am dark or fair, I am fat or thin, whatever. So there's a mix-up of Ātmā and Anātmā. This I is the Ātmā. But then I have said that Ātmā possesses the attributes of such and such a height, such and such a weight, etc. So this is a Sthula Sharira. And when I say I am ashamed, I am afraid, I am courageous. I'm using these words because the Upanishad gives these three examples and some others along these lines. So at that point, I have identified with the Sukshma Sharira, the mind. Again, there's a mix-up of Ātmā and Anātmā. And then when I say, let's say there is a certain situation that makes me happy. So there is experiential happiness in the mind. Then I say, I am happy. But there are other occasions where I say, I am ignorant. So both of those are again a mix-up of Ātmā and Anātmā. That is where we have mixed up the Ātmā with the Karana Sharira, the causal body. So since these mix-ups are possible at these three levels of the Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Sharira, it is explicitly negated. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana Sharirat Vyatiriktaha. Then we said that Pancha Koshas are the second set of Anātmās, the 5 Koshas. And as we said, that Kosha means a cover. Like a cover for a dagger or a sword, etc. So naturally, the cover tends to conceal what is inside. So can these koshas, these pancha koshas, which are Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, and Anandamaya, can these really conceal the Ātmā? We have already said Ātmā is the Satyam, everything else is Mithya. So can Mithya really conceal the Satyam? Can the pot conceal the clay? Can the bangle conceal the gold? Can the wave conceal water? When we are looking at each of these, the pot, the clay, the pot, the wave, and the bangle, we are looking at the clay, the water, the gold. Really speaking, we are looking at the Satyam only. So, it cannot really conceal the Satyam. But when one misses the Satyam, when one is captivated by the Nama Rupa and misses the Satyam, then in a manner of saying, we can say that it conceals the Satyam. Similarly, these 5 koshas are levels of my personality at which I commit certain mistakes with regards to the Atma. And therefore, figuratively, they can be said to be concealing the Atma. So in these 5 koshas, the first kosha, Annamaya, maps directly to the Sthula Sharira. So we have these 3 bodies, Sthula, Sukshma and Karana Sharira. We have these 5 koshas, Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya and Anandamaya. So the Sthula Sharira maps to the Annamaya kosha 1 to 1 directly. So when I say that I am tall, I am fair, I am dark, etc., that is basically the Annamaya Kosha that I am talking. But then the Sukshma Sharira is further divided into three koshas, which are the middle three koshas, the Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, the Pranamaya, Manomaya, and Vijnanamaya. So these three are basically subdivisions of the Sukshma Sharira. And then the Karana Sharira is again the Anandamaya Kosha, the fifth one. So when I say that I am 5 feet 8 inches tall or I weigh 50 kgs, then that is a mix-up of Ātmā and Anātmā, similar to how we discussed with the Stula Sharira. So that is the Annamaya Kosha. When I say that I am agitated, I am sad, then that is a mix-up with the Manomaya Kosha. Where Ātmā is taken to the mind, that is the Manomaya Kosha. When I say I am hungry, I am thirsty, then Ātmā is taken to be the pranas. That is the Pranamaya Kosha. When I say I have done this, I'm going to do this, I have decided this, then Ātmā is taken to be the Karta, the doer. That is the Vijnanamaya Kosha. And again, when I say I'm happy or ignorant, in deep sleep I am both happy as well as ignorant. That is the Anandamaya Kosha. So 5 levels at which I mistake the Ātmā. And then we come to the Avasthatraya, the 3 states of experience. Waking state, dream state, and deep sleep state. So there is this waker in the waking state. There is this dreamer in the dream state. And there is this sleeper in the deep sleep state. The waker, the dreamer, and the sleeper are all Ātmā. Because they cannot exist without Ātmā. They are all Ātmā in different costumes. But Ātmā can exist without all of those. Therefore, it says that Avasthatraya Sakshi. Ātmā is not the waker, Ātmā is not the dreamer, not the sleeper. But Ātmā is the witness of the state of waking. Ātmā is the witness of the state of dreaming. And Ātmā is a witness even in deep sleep state. There is one witness that continues unchanged in all these 3 states. That is the Ātmā. So here, if we look at it, there are 3 bodies, 5 koshas, and 3 states of experience. So 3 plus 5 plus 3, there are 11 Anātmās in all that have been negated. Now we come to the last 4th part of this, which is the definition of Ātmā, where it says, Sat Chid Anānda Svarūpa san yas tishtati sa Ātmā. So here we have negated what Ātmā is not in the first 3 parts of this response. And then now we are positively stating what Ātmā is. For example, let's go back to the example of the ornaments. So we say gold is not this bangle, not the necklace, not this ring. But do you see this yellow, shiny, smooth metal that underlies all of these? That is the gold. So we use the three adjectives: yellow, smooth, shiny metal. Yellow, smooth, shiny metal. Shiny metallic substance, we can say. So similarly, Sat, Chit, and Ananda. These three adjectives are given. But really speaking, these are not adjectives, because adjectives are attributes. This is the Svarūpa of Ātmā itself that we are talking about here. Ātmā is the nature of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So here it's worth considering what a definition is. The definition is basically a set of words that try to converge upon a certain object, that try to distinguish a certain object from everything else. So our Shastras get into a discussion on what is a definition. In all our school studies and all that, we've studied so many definitions. But we never studied what a definition of a definition should be. And it's an interesting discussion that is worth spending a few minutes on. So if we look at a definition, it's a set of words. But then there arises a question about whether those set of words are doing the right thing or not. For example, let us say that we have to define what a cow is. Then one can try to make some effort in putting together some words that define what a cow is. But our Shastras have gone very deep into this matter. They say that a definition can have three possible doshas or defects. So a correct definition, a proper definition, should be free of these three defects. So let us try to define what a cow is. So if I say that all horned creatures are cows, so the definition is called a lakshanaha. Lakshanaha. The definition of a cow would be called goho lakshanaha or goho lakshanam. Either way is possible. So goho lakshanam kim, if we ask, what is the definition of a cow? Suppose somebody says shringitvam goho lakshanam. Having horns is the quality of having horns defines a cow. Then certainly this covers all the cows, because cows have the horns. But the definition has a defect, because it extends to deer also, or to antelopes, buffaloes. So this kind of a defect, where the set of words don't converge exactly on the set we need, but actually get into some kind of a superset of that set. This is a dosha. It is not a proper definition. So this dosha is called ativyaptihi, where the set of words are not converging exactly on the target set, but are covering more things other than the target set also. So let us say we say this definition is defective. Try to come up with another definition. So if somebody says that all white creatures are cows. Shvetarupavatvam goho lakshanam. Then this definition excludes black cows or brown cows or black and white cows. So again, this doesn't converge on the exact target set that we need. So this is again a defect. It is called avyaptihi. That is, the definition is not fully covering the target set that I need. And then there is a third defect also. You look at the feet of a cow. The foot of a cow has this split. In the hoof, there is a split. So it has two hoofs. But if somebody comes up with a definition that says all one-hoofed creatures are cows, eka shapha vatvam goho lakshanam. The shapha means this hoof. Eka shapha means one hoof. Eka shapha vat means one that has one hoof. Eka shapha vatvam, one that has quality of having one hoof. Goho lakshanam, then it excludes all cows. Perhaps unintentionally, maybe this person hadn't examined very carefully. So such unintentional definitions where one is trying to define something, but in the very process excludes that very thing completely. This is asambhavaha dosha. So these are the three possible defects: ativyaptihi, avyaptihi, and asambhavaha. So the definition has to be free of these defects. And this Sat Chid Anānda is a proper definition. We will see this later. So here we are saying Ātmā is Sat Chid Anānda Svarūpa. So Sat is Satyam. We have looked at what Satyam is extensively. It is that which really exists. In fact, this is the very existence of the nature of existence. And Chit refers to consciousness. It is of the nature of consciousness. And Anandaha refers to the nature of happiness, nature, the very source of happiness. As we have seen earlier, nothing else in the world really has an iota of happiness in it. Nothing in the world has an iota of happiness in it. But when I acquire something, at that point, in that particular state of mind, which is free of that desire of acquiring the object, when that desire is fulfilled, in that state of mind, my own inherent happiness is reflected in that state of mind as experienced happiness. So Ātmā is of the nature of Ananda. Just as we can take payasam, for example, payasam, or just recently Deepavali was concluded, so everyone would have had a lot of sweets. So you say this laddu is sweet, or this payasam is sweet. Well, what is the source of that sweetness? It is really the sugar that was added. The sugar is the original source of that sweetness. The other things that are added there, the rice or the rava laddu or whatever that laddu is, they don't have that inherent sweetness. The sweetness comes from the sugar that is added. Similarly, what is the source of all the happiness that we ever experience? The source is the Ātmā. Anyway, Ātmā is Ananda Svarūpa. So we will look more into this definition later. But now the way the text progresses is there were these 3 negations and 11 Anātmās that were negated. So the student now asks questions about each of these Anātmās to understand the Anātmā as Anātmā. Like we said, we have to look for the Surya Kanta jewel in a box. I have to sift through a lot of jewels to finally zoom in on the Surya Kanta jewel. I have to know the non-Surya Kantas as a non-Surya Kanta. Similarly, I have to know the Anātmā as the Anātmā, why it is the Anātmā, why I should not get stuck to it. In my searching for what the Ātmā is, I have to sift through the Anātmās. Therefore, the student asks questions about each of the Anātmās so that they can be negated. So now we come to that next statement in Tattva Bodha. And I will read this and you can repeat after me. So this is on page 5, it's on page 5, right? Yeah, page 5. Stula Shariram Kim. So the Tattva Bodha 3.1, we will read that. Stula Shariram Kim.
Stula Shariram Kim.
Panchīkrita Panchamahābhūtaih Kritam.
Panchīkrita Panchamahābhūtaihi Kritam.
Satkarmajanyam.
Satkarmajanyam.
Sukha-dukkādi-bhogayatanam shariram.
Sukha-dukkādi-bhogayatanam shariram.
Asti jayate vardhate viparinamate.
Asti jayate vardhate viparinamate.
Apakshiyate vinashyatiti.
Apakshiyate vinashyati iti.
षड्विकारवत् एतत् स्थूल शरीरम्.
षट्विकारवत् एतत् स्थूल शरीरम्.
So the student is asking the question, Sthula Shariram Kim? So this is the first Anātmā that we talked about. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana Sharirad Vyatiriktaha Ātmā. Therefore, Sthula Shariram Kim? What is this Sthula Shariram? So the Guru replies with this Panchīkrita, Panchamahābhūtaih Kritam, Satkarmajanyam, etc. So before we get into this, what does the word Shariram mean? We look at the etymology of the word Shariram. Then see that it comes from this Shri Dhatu in Sanskrit. Shri Dhatu. So this root Shri means to kill, to destroy, to shatter. Therefore, that which is killed, destroyed, shattered, that is the Shariram. Shiryate rogadina yat tat shariram. Shiryate rogadina yat tat shariram. That which is killed or destroyed by disease, etc. That is Sharira. Or equivalently, Rogadina Shiryamanatvat Shariram. Again means the same thing. That which is destroyed, disintegrated, killed, by disease, etc. And when we say disease, etc., we can say disease, fall, accident, getting hurt. All of those are included. So this is the nature of the Sharira. So here, Tattva Bodha takes up each of these Shariras, the Sthula Sharira, Sukshma Sharira, and Karana Sharira, and looks at it from 5 different angles. The first one, so we'll enumerate the 5 angles from which Tattva Bodha examines each Sharira. The first one is the perceptibility. We will discuss what each of these is. Perceptibility, the cause or causes of the Sharira, the function of the Sharira. Fourth is the nature of that Sharira. The fifth is the constituents of the Sharira. So perceptibility, cause, function, nature, and constituents. So let us take each of these with regards to the Sthula Sharira. The first is perceptibility. What does this mean? Meaning whether the Sharira can be seen by, can be seen or in some way perceived by me and others. So the Sthula Sharira is called Sthula primarily because it is perceptible. It can be seen, not just by me, but by others as well. And that's why it's called a gross body. It is visible, it is manifest to my senses as well as other senses. It's Indriya Gocharam. That is why when somebody wants to do something, perhaps something wrong, then one wants to do it secretly because the body can be seen by others or even be recorded on a CCTV, for example. So the gross body has this property of being perceptible to me, to others also. Then the second part is the cause or the causes. So this is where the Tattva Bodha talks about Panchikrita Panchamahabhutaih Kritam. So what are the causes of this body? Panchikrita Panchamahabhutaih Kritam Sat Karma Janyam. The cause can be divided into 2. One is a general cause and the other is a specific cause. Samanya Karanam and Vishesha Karanam. So here, Panchikrita Panchamahabhutaihi Kritam. This refers to the general cause of all these gross bodies, of all the Sthula Shariras. They are made of these Panchamahabhutas. When we say Panchamahabhutas, we are referring to the 5 elements of Akashaha, Vayuhu, Agnihi, Jalam, and Prithvi. Akashaha, Vayuhu, Agnihi, Jalam, and Prithvi. Space, air, fire, water, and the earth element. And why Panchikrita? Why not just Panchamahabhutai Kritam should have been sufficient? Why Panchikrita is added? Because when we study these 5 elements, which will come, we will see that there are 2 types of these 5 elements. One is the subtle 5 elements, and the other is the grossified 5 elements. The subtle 5 elements are not perceptible to the senses. But when these same 5 elements, they combine in a certain manner, then they become perceptible to the senses. They become grossified. And that is what this panchikrita means. There is a process called panchikaranam, or grossification, that converts the subtle five elements to grossified five elements. So this shariram is made of the panchikrita pancha mahabhutas. So as we said, that chemistry, for example, gets into this 108, 110 or whatever that number is, number of elements. But such a fine inquiry into what are these detailed types of elements, etc., that is required if one wants to do material progress. If one wants to create new things in the world, for example, then these days, for example, phone cases, they are made of titanium. The discovery of titanium is important in order to produce these phones. And copper has its uses, aluminum has its uses. Airplanes are made from aluminum metal generally because it's very light. So all of this is important if we want to produce goods and services in the world. But our aim is not to produce goods and services in the world. That's not why we are having the fundamentals of Vedanta class here. Our aim is to discover what the Ātmā is. Therefore, we don't have to study the periodic table of elements for that. This five element model is more than sufficient, and it is complete because it accounts for every experience that we can have. Why? Because we have only five sense organs: seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, and touching. And therefore, there are five attributes that we can perceive in the world: Shabdaha, Sparshaha, Rupaha, Rasaha, and Gandha. So since this world is reduced to five attributes, there is nothing else in the world, it is just these five attributes in different configurations. So this five elemental model is sufficient, more than sufficient, because there is one element, Akasha, which has only one attribute of sound, Shabda. There is one element, Vayuhu, which has two attributes of Shabdaha and Sparshaha. We can hear the wind and we can feel the wind. Then there is a third element of Agnihi, which has three attributes of Shabdaha, Sparshaha, and Rupaha. We can hear the crackling sound of the fire, Shabdaha. We touch it, it's hot, Sparshaha, and we can see the fire, Rupa. And then there is Jalam, the fourth element, which has Shabdaha. Shabdaha, we can hear the water. Waterfalls make thundering sounds. Sparshaha, we can touch water. Rupaha, we can see the water. And the water has a distinct taste also, therefore Rasaha. And then there is Gandha, Gandha, and therefore this fifth element called Prithvi, which includes Gandha. We can hear the earth. If we take some solid substance and drop it, it makes a sound. Shabdaha. We can touch it. Sparshaha. We can see it. Rupaha. We can taste it. Rasaha. But then this distinctive smell attribute comes from Prithvi only, the earth element. That's why when there is this first rains, we have a very nice, beautiful fragrance of the earth that we distinctly smell during the first rains. So the entire experience can be accounted for by five elements. Everything in the world is composed of these five elements. It is a model, just like this periodic table of elements is a model. Even this five elements, it is a model, but it is a complete model that accounts for all of our experiences. Everything in this world is made of five elements. This body too is made of these 5 elements. This body has akasha. How do we know that? Because Swamiji says, plates and plates of food go into this body. If this space was not there in the body, how would this food find a space? There's akasha in the stomach. There's akasha in the lungs. Really speaking, akasha pervades the entire body. Because that for the body to exist, akasha has to be there. So akasha is there. Vayu is there. Breath that we take in, the air fills our lungs. There's air in the akasha, also in the stomach, in the intestines, etc. Vayu. There's Agnihi. There's this Jathara Agnihi that is there. Which is a digestive fire. Then this body has a certain warmth. There's Agni. Jalam. As we have studied even in our science books, the body is 80% water. Jalam. And Prithvi. He said this distinctive smell attribute belongs to Prithvi only. None of the other elements have got the smell attribute. The body has smells. It has different types of smell at different times of the day. And we didn't talk about the taste. So, rasaha. If we prick ourselves and we suck, then we can feel the taste of blood. So all of these attributes are there in the body, all the elements are there. So Pancha Mahabhutai Kritam. This is the Samanya Karanam of all the physical bodies that we see around us. And then Sat Karma Janyam. There's a Vishesha Karanam also. Because if some other distinguishing karanam was not there, all the bodies should have looked alike. Why are there differences in the bodies? There is some distinctive karana, some vishesha karanam that contributes to why all these bodies are different, why there is an earthworm, and why there is a monkey, why there is a peacock and a human being. So that distinctive cause is the karma, sat karma janyam. Some bodies are male, some are female, some are healthy, some are not so healthy. Some are tall, some are short. So all of this can be accounted for by karma. Some have more hair, some have less hair. So somebody may try to say that, is this not because of genetics? Why are you bringing in karma here? As we studied in the law of karma extensively, the discussion on the law of karma, that based on one's punya and papa, one has to get a suitable body in which one can experience the results of the punya and papa. Therefore, like different houses, they are made of the same raw materials. If you look at any house, there will be brick, mortar, brick, cement, glass, steel. All of these raw materials go into making the house. But each house has a different plan. Each house looks different. That is because of the plan. The architect has a certain plan based on which the house is built. So similarly here, it is the karma that determines the plan based on which the body is built. The Jivatma, the Jivaha, carries the past karmas. And then that karma, the fructifying part of the karma known as prarabdha karma, that custom builds the body that is required for the jiva to get the experiences that one has to get because of one's past punya and papa. Therefore, sat karma janyam. Why is the sat there? Why not just karma janyam? Why not just say it is just karma janyam? It is made because of one's karma. Why add the sat karma janyam? Because we say that in order to get a human body, now we are studying Tattva Bodha here. It's a student asking. The context is the human body because we are the person who is trying to do this inquiry is a human being. The Shastras assert repeatedly that the human body is obtained due to some punya only. If it was predominantly papa, then it would be an animal body. If it was predominantly punya, it would become a devata body. There's a mixture of punya and papa, but the punya is definitely there. And therefore, it brings about this human body. And why is this said that the human body is a result of punya? That is because in this body, one gets a free will. And therefore, one can pursue dharma. Dharma purushartha pursuit is possible in a human body. And similarly, moksha pursuit is also possible in a human body only. Predominantly in a human body. In fact, in the animal body, one can only exhaust past karmas as we have seen, because there is no free will. Even in a devata body, we say that it only exhausts the past karmas. One doesn't gain any new karmas, even in a devata body. This is the Shastra Pramana that points out. In a human body, the dharma pursuit as well as the moksha pursuit is possible. Therefore, sat karma janyam. And then, so we have looked at the perceptibility. This body is visible to me, visible to others, the gross body. We have looked at the causes, the samanya karanam, which is pancha mahabhutai kritam, and the vishesha karanam, sat karma janyam. And now we come to the function, the third part. We were looking at perceptibility, cause, the function, and then the nature and the constituents. These are the five-part analysis we are doing for each body. What is the function? This sukha dukkhadi bhoga ayatanam. So the word ayatanam means it's an abode. If we take a person who has a transferable job, then the person gets transferred to a different city, for example. The person has to go there, and first thing the person looks for is a residence, a place where the person can settle down. And then you have to get all these connections, gas connection, electricity connection, and internet connection, etc., to interact with everybody. So this is where the person resides and interacts with everybody in the city. This would be the ayatanam, the abode of the person. And once the job is done, gets transferred somewhere else, then he has to vacate that place and hand over the keys and vacate that place. Similarly, this body is also an ayatanam, which the jiva comes in and occupies temporarily. In order to interact with the world, the house has got all these doors and windows through which one can talk to the neighbors. Through the doors, one can go out, interact with the world, and come back in. Similarly, this body has got these openings through which one interacts with the world. Jiva comes in, occupies this body, interacts with the world through these senses, these openings called golakas. And then when the prarabdha is exhausted, at that point, the jiva has to vacate this body. Ayatanam. And then what does this jiva experience here? Sukha dukkhadi bhoga ayatanam. The jiva experiences pleasures and pains. Being in this body is the locus where the pleasure and pains are experienced. One's son or daughter gets admitted to a certain university or is going to get married. Pleasurable experience. And then, after some time, one gets diagnosed with a particular disease. It's a painful experience. So, sukha, dukkhadi, bhoga, ayatanam. All these experiences take place in this location, this body. This is the residence where all of these experiences take place during the lifetime. This is the function of the body. Sukha dukkhadi bhogayatanam shariram. And then it gets into the nature. What is the nature of this body? Shad vikaravat etat sthula shariram. The sthula sharira, the shad vikaravat, it has got these six-fold modifications. Six-fold modifications. What are the six-fold modifications? Asti, jayate, vardhate, viparimanamate, apakshiyate, vinashyati. So, asti. Initially, this body exists in a very sukshma form in the womb of the mother. Like if you have seen the ultrasounds, that shows just a small thing, but then they can hear the heart beating. You can see the movement in that little thing in the womb. You can see the movement as the heart beats. That is the asti. It is there in that sukshma state in the womb. And then jayate. It comes out of the womb, connected by the umbilical cord. And then the cord is cut. It is jayate. When it comes out of the womb, now everybody can see it. Becomes perceptible to everybody. Then vardhate, grows after that. So this small baby, which is about this big, in 18 or 20 years, it becomes a huge sumo wrestler who is probably equal to the size of 3 or 4 baby elephants. A huge sumo wrestler. How did this body grow to become this sumo wrestler with all the annam that was consumed? All this food that is consumed goes into making this physical body. That's why this is called the Annamaya Kosha. Made of annam. Asti, jayate, vardhate, viparinamate. The body becomes a teenager. And suddenly there's this transformation that happens when one transitions from this adolescence to manhood or womanhood. The body transforms. Viparinamate. Apakshiyate. And after this adulthood is attained, for a while this body is stable until one is 45, 50, whatever. There is some stability there. But then this process of decay starts to set in. There is graying of the hair. One starts to develop creaky joints. Earlier, one was able to climb these steps, run on the steps up and down. But now one has to hold the handrails and lift the leg gradually. Getting up and sitting down becomes a project. The teeth begin to fall. There's decay in the teeth. Apakshiyate. And then vinashyati. Rogadina shiryamanatvat. Shariram is subject to being destroyed, subject to being killed. That is inevitable. Vinashyati. Apakshiyate. The decay gradually increases, and one day the end comes. This is the biography of the Sthula Sharira. And the last part is the constituents. The Sthula Sharira is made of these physical seat of the senses, the golakas, seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. It has got these organs, the karmendriyas, organs of grasping, organs of locomotion, speech. And then it has got all these internal organs like the brain, the heart, the lungs, kidneys, that the medical science knows very well. So, etat stula shariram. This is the Sthula Sharira. And I, the Ātmā, am not this Sthula Sharira. What is the vichara for that? We'll continue with this vichara in the next class as to why I am not this Sthula Sharira. Om Purnamadaഃ Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Yes, Vishwanathji.
Yeah, Namaskaram. In today's class, you have beautifully clarified the what is Jiva and the real Sat Chid Anānda Svarūpa, etc. Correct, na? And we are going into the subset of understanding the various koshas, etc. I have only one doubt.
Yeah.
If you can just clarify that. So you have explained today that we are actually Brahman, we are Sat Chid Anandam, correct? No, that's what my understanding today's class.
Yes.
And then the Brahman is pervading the entire cosmic universe.
Yes.
And there is three rupas, that is Jiva, Satyam, and Mithya. Now, only one doubt again coming to my mind, if you can just clarify that. How is the consciousness present in the other non-living beings, like for example, rock, water, fire, etc. Is still the God pervades in those non-living being also? That's one doubt I have. If you can just clarify, that will be great.
Sure.
Yeah,
that's a very good question. Because if Brahman is of the nature of Sat, Chit, and Ananda, and Chit is consciousness, and Brahman is all-pervading, then is that consciousness, Sat, Chit, Ananda, everything present in a non-living being also, like a rock or
correct.
or a mountain or whatever you take?
Yeah.
So we say that yes, it is there. The Sat Chid Ananda is all-pervading means it is all-pervading. It is not that it doesn't pervade the rock. But in the rock, the consciousness aspect of it is not manifest as it is in a living being. For example, if there's a caterpillar or even in a plant, We say that even plants respond to touch, etc. Right? So they also demonstrate the presence of some consciousness. But a rock absolutely has no consciousness at all. So how can you say that this consciousness aspect is pervading the rock also? We say that Brahman is Satyam, Brahman is all pervading, Brahman is consciousness. So it pervades the rock also. But the consciousness aspect is not manifest as it is in a living being. And that is because the Sukshma Sharira is not present. So the Sukshma Sharira is present only for a Jivatma. So wherever the Jiva is there, the Sukshma Sharira comes in. And there, in that body, the consciousness becomes manifest. Body becomes sentient. But when the Sukshma Sharira is not there, then that remains an insentient physical entity like a rock or sand, etc. Or just like a dry log of wood. So there is no sentiency that is exhibited. That is because of the lack of the Sukshma Sharira. But the consciousness is all pervading, but the Sukshma Sharira being absent, the consciousness is not manifest. This part we will understand more as we look into the second Sharira, which is the Sukshma Sharira.
It means, my understanding is, just correct me.
Yeah.
Other living being, there is no Sushma Sharira. Only for Jiva, it has got Sushma Sharira. That's what you are trying to clarify. Am I right?
All living beings have Sukshma Sharira.
Okay.
Non-living beings don't have Sukshma Sharira. Non-living things don't
Okay.
have the Sukshma Sharira.
Oh, okay. Clarified. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Sure.
Like we also use the word like, the mountains are growing, or, the rock, or living earth, something like that. I mean, like it's not consciousness, but as you say, it's still, the usage at least indicates that they do live. It's not just, probably consciousness is not there, but
if you take a rock, for example, right, then yeah, there may be some growth in the rock because of accumulation of sand or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or there may be shrinking of the rock. That is also possible. But we assert that in that rock there is no sentiency. The rock cannot know other things, right? A living being can know other things, presence of other things. It has these sense organs in some way of seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching, etc. Those senses are there. It exhibits some form of life, consciousness. But a rock doesn't do that. Therefore, that is an insentient thing where only the Sat aspect of Brahman, the existence aspect, is very clear. But the Chit aspect is not manifest in that thing, the rock or the wall, etc. So the Sat Chid Anānda Brahman is all pervading. In the insentient beings, only the Sat is manifest. The Chit and Ananda are not manifest. In living beings, both the Sat and Chit are manifest. Whereas in a happy living being, the Sat, Chit, and Ananda, all three are manifest.
I have one more question. Sorry,
Yes.
The thing is, when we talked about pramanas,
Yeah.
we never considered Ātmā or this Brahman as one of the pramanas. I mean, that is, it cannot be revealed by anything else, and it is self-revealing.
Yes.
Shouldn't it be considered as a pramana?
Yeah, that's a very good question. That Ātmā, when we say Ātmā cannot be revealed by anything else, there is a subtle aspect there, which is that the existence of Ātmā need not be revealed by anything else. The existence of Ātmā I know. I am this I know without using any pramana or any sense organ. But what I am, this I don't know without the Vaidika Shabda Pramana. Therefore, the Vaidika Shabda Pramana is required in order to reveal the nature of the Atma, not the existence of the Atma. So, without the Vaidika Shabda Pramana, I will not know who I am. I will continue with the confusion. I know that I am. The Samanya Jnanam is there without the Vaidika Shabda Pramana, but the Vishesha Jnanam of who I am comes only through the Vaidika Shabda Pramana. So, we don't have to consider Atma or Brahman itself as a Pramana. It is the one that is behind the employment of all other Pramanas. Okay. It is behind the Pramata, the knower. It is illumining the knower, it is illumining the knowledge, and it is illumining the known. The Pramata, the Prameya, and the Prama. And the Pramanam also, you can say. All four are illumined by the Atma. They exist because of the Atma.
So it is like an ultimate pramanam, which probably doesn't need a definition as it is. Is that right? I mean, like.
So it is the ultimate Sat Chid Anānda. It is the ultimately existent consciousness. So we can say consciousness is existent or existence is conscious. Either way, Sat Chit Ananda. So that is what eventually exists. That is the source of all consciousness and happiness. And that is also self-revealing in the sense that existence, I know. But I still need the words of the Veda, the Shabda Pramana, in order to understand what it is. So there is a final discussion here that words cannot ultimately reveal the Atma. But then Upanishad also says, Manasa eva idam aptavyam, that it has to be understood by the mind only. The mind cannot know this, but the mind only has to know this. These appear like contradictory statements. The words cannot reveal, but then the words are also required to reveal. So we will discuss more on this subsequently, how this contradiction is resolved. There is a more detailed discussion there.
Thank you.
So, shall we conclude then? Hari.
Yes.
Thank you. Hari
Thank you. Hari Om. Yeah.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari